You have some thoughts about how government can work better, and you've been checking out a book, I think, that sort of speaks to that a little bit.
Sure. Well, one thing, I think every elected official should spend a year or two running a big service business like a restaurant, where you learn immediately there's no margin having enemies. No matter how unreasonable that customer is, you'll do whatever it is to build and maintain a relationship. Unlike politics, where you again and again see people that when they put someone else down, they think they're raising themselves up. They do these attack ads relentlessly. I mean, turn on the TV tonight. And yet you never see Ford do an attack ad against GE. You never see Coke doing attack ads against Pepsi, because they know that it destroys the market. And the short-term benefits of these attack ads really are decaying or certainly diluting the resiliency of a democracy. And the other part we were talking about out there, when I got elected governor in November of 2010, we had about a 3-month transition. A guy named Jeff Smart, who'd written a book called Who, and he consults for a number of Fortune 500 companies, but it's all about how to hire the right people. And he donated his services to help us do a much better job of really intensely looking at the job descriptions of each cabinet official, and then working through the interviews and the process by which we hired them, which had a huge amount to do with how we hired a woman named Kristen Russell, who was a senior vice president of global IT services for Oracle. She wanted to make a change. She was willing to take a couple of years off. I think she was 41 at the time. She's our chief information officer, secretary of technology. We wouldn't have been able to attract that level of talent without this kind of help. And Jeff Smart was amazed that there were so few people for these senior positions that we just couldn't attract high-level talent. And so he started bugging us about that as the months went on. And he's written a book called Leadocracy that just came out. I'll give him a plug.
What is it called again?
Leadocracy.
Leadocracy.
And Leadocracy, the idea is how do we get more talent into government? And he started a leadership initiative in Denver where we have a number of CEOs that the commitment they make is before they turn 70, they will commit to spending 2 years in public service. Could be for nonprofit, but full-time, focused work, either in government, state, local, federal, or in nonprofit. And we've got a bunch of people that get paid $10 million a year, very high-level CEOs that are committing their time and learning about this approach to service.
How is President Obama polling in Colorado right now versus Mitt Romney, and who do you think is going to win the state of Colorado?
Well, it depends on whose poll you look at. I think that most polls show him about the president up about 4 points, I think. But that's pretty close within the margin of error. I think a lot of it's I think the attack ads aren't going to have as big a difference as they have. And I think personally, we're 1/3 Republican, 1/3 Democrat, and 1/3 independent. And those independents are going to play the key role. And they're going to respond, I think, to leadership. And whether, which of those two candidates show not just leadership, but personality. The president was down in Colorado Springs 2 weeks ago after we had that wall of fire came down onto Colorado Springs. Right. We had 350 homes burn in 2 hours. The president called the next day and said, would I be useful if I came out, which I thought was gracious. And we called the Republican mayor in Colorado Springs, all the Republican leadership. Would he be useful or would he be a distraction? And to a person, everyone said, we talked to the U.S. Forest Service incident manager. We want him to come. If he would come, that'd be incredible. So he came, and he went to a group of about 75 firefighters that were just coming off a 12-hour shift. He shook every hand and spent the time with them, and they spoke for like 4 or 5 minutes. But at the end, he said it much better than I can say it, but something like, I guarantee you, we guarantee you, you'll have the resources you need, the training you need, you'll have everything you need to fight these fires, but we can't train you in courage. And the courage that you've all shown over these last several weeks are an inspiration not just to me, but to the country, and thank you so much. And there were, 6'4" firefighters with their gear on their back, with tears coming down their cheeks. And I think Mitt Romney's going to have to find those places where he can demonstrate that same kind of leadership.